Well, everybody, welcome back. I'm sorry if I look a little bit disheveled today. I woke up at 4 a.m. and went live at 6 a.m., all for the purpose of being able to live stream the amazing Hightail launch. And we have been playing the hell out of it, having a blast. I have been live for 7 straight hours playing Hightail. I'm taking it nice and slow, letting it marinate. And to answer your question, yes, it is good. Yes, it has been worth the wait. Yes, I am very happy. But politics, nonetheless, calls, and I must keep up with the news. I must cover what's going on, but I hope you guys like the Hightail gameplay in the background. And if you end up wanting to buy the game, consider using creator code Xander when you do, because I have my own creator code. I'd appreciate it if you used it. That said, though, I'm also here with Rince, who's playing Hightail with me, along with, we're getting up to, 18 other people on this world. How you doing, Rince?
What's up? Yeah, I'm running on, 40 minutes of fucking sleep. Zan got my ass up early in the fucking morning. I haven't slept in 26 days. Please free me. Please free me.
God damn.
Yeah, but no, yeah, this game's actually fucking goated. I could go on a whole, tangent about this. This could legit be its own video, just me and Zan talking about Hightail.
Yeah, well, let's not make it that, though, because people won't be too down. But we do have a lot to talk about in the realm of news, because apparently today Trump has been acting a fool and kind of stoking chaos across the world. So we got two... shocking. We've got two big headlines to cover. Which one did I end up going with first? The first is Trump cancels all meetings with Iranian officials and urges protesters to act. So, are you familiar with what's going on in Iran right now? Do you know what's up?
No, yeah, give me the TLDR, the Reddit TLDR. What happened?
So if I'm not mistaken, because the U.S. and Iran have never really been the friendliest, we've been able to go to the table and have talks before. Trump has never been good for those talks in the past. But in general, Iran and the U.S. are not the most friendly in terms of governments. They aren't too buddy with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the U.S. I believe and Trump especially, has put heavy sanctions on Iran, which have led to essentially all of the global trade blocking itself off from Iran's engagement. And this leaves Iran's economy to wither without the, globalism to, keep it alive. And right now, countless Iranians are living in a situation where life is untenable, and is largely due to the anti-Western sentiment of leadership in Iran that they are forced to live under these sanctions that are causing their hardships. So they are violently revolting against the government, protesting, and it's basically become this big it's become this big thing because conservatives and hyper pro-America people are obviously in favor of these protests because it's the people of Iran fighting against a regime that is not Western friendly. But at the same time, if you're a real lefty, you should see it as the working class standing up against a authoritarian ruling governmental class made up of oligarchs in many cases, in Iran's case. And then on top of that, you got the lefties, the hyper lefties who just hate America, that are either ignoring or even defending Iran's government against what is literally a proletarian revolution because they like the government of Iran, because the government of Iran doesn't like America. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack with that. So I guess when you say hyper lefties, I guess you're saying tankies, you know what I mean? That are siding with Iran's government. Is that a big part of the discussion, or is it mainly just the chuds that are who are the main players here in this discussion?
I mean, I would argue that in general, it's a lot like the Maduro thing, if you followed that at all, where most people are yeah, Maduro is bad, it's cool that he's, gone, but they have some reservations about the way it happened. I'd say most on the left are a bit like that. They're not... they might not necessarily be, dick sucks for the Iranian government, but they aren't woo, Western sentiment, or pro-Western sentiment is taking over Iran, let's go! Say, I am, or you might be.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with what's going on over there, it's, I mean, what's been going on, I mean, we could go on and on about, what's been going on in the Middle East for, a while, a while now. It's just, yeah. Constant escalation. I mean, shit, I was making jokes earlier about, Kuwait and their fucking oil, you know what I mean? And, I'm part Kuwaiter. But, yeah, it's, I will say, like, because I think, like, we can all tie. I think it's safe to say we can tie this back to Trump. You know what I mean, and how he handles things, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it gets like tiring, very tired, and this is why I don't keep up with politics. But you know, but like it does. I'll tell you that it's what I'm more curious is about is like how Trump's like supporters are going to like twist and like defend him on this. You know what I mean? Because with Venezuela, right? I mean, you even showed me the asthma gold clips where they're like, it's obvious, right? Like, you know, it's obvious, and I was like, well, what's obvious? You know what I mean? But with this, it's like I'm kind of curious to see what the talking points are this time, right? So, you got some of those ready? Or are we?
Yeah, I got a news story ready, and I'll,
Yeah.
I'll introduce you to the story as I kind of learn it with this whole like Trump, trying to kind of back up this revolution against the government of Iran.
Oh
Let's
yeah.
hop into it. Or possible revolution.
And we have more
Yeah.
breaking news. President Trump says he's canceling all meetings with
sure.
Iranian officials until the killing of protesters stops. Human rights activists say the Iranian regime has now killed more than 2,000 protesters and arrested more than 16,000. Meanwhile, President Trump's national security team will meet today to discuss Iran intervention options. Let's bring in White House correspondent Karen Travers and ABC national security and defense analyst Mick Mulroy for more. Hi to you both. So, Karen, what is the president saying now about these meetings, these conversations, and what's the latest on this national security meeting?
Yeah, we are
Oh,
told that
shit.
officials will be meeting.
So Trump is doing a big national security meeting. He's I'm pretty sure Hegseth's going to be there as well.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it's going to like there's no way that the whole Department of War thing was just posturing, right? Like he plans to actually do a lot of war, right? Like that's not just a meme. Like he's gonna go through. Like we've seen what he's done in Venezuela. We know that he wants to like go to war with Greenland. Like, do you think he might actually try to use this to destabilize Iran's government and then engage in some kind of actual military action directly against them? Because I could kind of see it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah, I definitely think that, like, I'll tell you that I think any chance Trump gets to flex his non-existent schlong, metaphorically, I think he will try to do that. We saw it with Venezuela. We saw, it's basically just, like, kind of spinning a roulette wheel, really, and, like, seeing, like, what country's gonna get fucked by the USA next, you know what I mean? And, like, that's kind of like what it is, you know? I don't know if he's, like, is he still going on about Greenland, by the way? Because you mentioned Greenland.
Yes.
Is he actually
Yes,
still going on about that?
he is going hard on that, like really doubling and
Oh.
tripling down.
Jeez. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's concerning. I just wanted free healthcare. Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah, dude. You know what's insane? This man ran on the idea of being the peace president. Wasn't he simultaneously running on the idea of being the peace president and suggesting invading Greenland during the campaign? Am I mixing things
Yeah.
up, or did the Greenland thing come up after he got in office? Because it might have been after he got in office.
It may have been after he got in office. It may have been after he got, like, I'll be charitable, and say it's probably after he got in office, but still, it's just like, you can't really trust, like, for me, it's like, if I was a Trump supporter, right? Or if I was, like, one of these people, like, I don't see how I could, like, and fuck the politics, right? Like, fuck the left versus right thing. I just, as a person, couldn't see how I could trust this guy still, you know what I mean? I just don't see how someone with, like, an IQ above room temperature could be like, yeah, so this guy basically lied about all of the big things he ran on. Like, for example, the fucking Epstein files. I think you made a video recently on that. And, it was like, Epstein files? Wait, what Epstein files? What, were you still talking about this creep? I can't believe this guy. You hear about talking about this creep? You know, it's like, yeah, it's like that's the main thing you ran on was like, these Democrats, they're not releasing the files. I released the files. They're not releasing them. And then it's like, you don't release them. So it's like, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? Like, I've said it before. I'll say it again. It's like, there really isn't too much to say anymore besides, damn, that just sucks. You know what I mean? It's like, you know,
Yeah.
sorry to what you could say.
And what's so fucked about it is that I feel like there's never been more things combining at once that make a political figure look so bad when taken all as one single picture, and yet there is still a cult dedicating to defending him. Like, no matter how blatant it gets, they continue. There's always some still there to defend, and it's shrinking. Don't get me wrong, the MAGA cult is shrinking. That is not deniable. But the fact that it still exists to begin with is so, like, it just melts my brain. I can't process it. It makes me wish I wasn't on Earth anymore. But, yeah.
I'll tell you this, like, you know, like, and this is like, I'm not even being a bully when I say this. Like, listen, Zan, I know that I tend to be a little bit of a shit poster, okay? But I'm not even being a bully when I say this, okay? Genuinely, some of them are flat out just retarded. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. All right, no. I'm not being funny. I'm being serious. Let me tell you why. So, funnily enough, the night before Hightail Day, I randomly decided to go back down the Charlie Kirk rabbit hole because that fucking, you know, comedian was stuck in my head with the whole fucking Papa Perk for Charlie Kirk thing, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna go back down that rabbit hole. And I was like looking at the songs I immediately released after his death, and I was looking in the comments, right? And some of these people, and I could tell they weren't bots because I looked at their profiles because I was like, no, this has to be a bot. But the misspelling is so bad that it couldn't have been an AI. But like I wish I had the screenshots to show you right now, but like, you know, like when I tell you like they're literally illiterate, like they cannot spell, like that's what I'm talking about. Like they literally can't spell.
You're not joking at all? It's just straight up that bad, huh?
No, I'm being dead ass. Like they literally can't spell. Like one of them was like, you know, I can't believe, you know, the death of Charlie Kirk. We will never surrender. But they didn't say surrender. They said serenader. They spelled serenader.
I mean, half the my favorite is how often they like just spam emojis in their messages.
That too, yeah.
Like,
that the praying emoji, the heart emojis.
Yeah, like you can just tell they're not smart people by the way they talk. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to be too like harsh because there are a lot of normies that voted for Trump not because they're stupid cult members, like part of the MAGA cult, but there are a lot of people who just straight up fell for this like narrative that his policies were best for the economy. Like that was literally the number one wedge issue in the entire election was the economy, and Trump was the highest favored candidate on handling the economy, so that's why he won. Like it's pretty straightforward, I'd say. Like there's no like, it wasn't because wokeness went too far or anything. Like wokeness could have gone 1,000 times further, but like people were under the impression that their economic anxieties were caused by the Democratic establishment. And they were convinced that the reason that they had those economic anxieties were due to war hawkish policies that were never even named to begin with, but, you know, that aside. Now we're in the situation where Republicans voted, or people voted for a Republican, thinking that it would mean no war, and fell for the oldest trick in the book. When a Republican says, we're the anti-war guys, and then immediately gets us involved in more war than ever. That's literally what they always do every time. They fell for it again. Oldest trick in the book.
Yeah. No, yeah, most definitely.
Fell for it again award. Anyway, I'll resume the news story, because we are getting a little stun-locked on all these tertiary topics.
Yeah.
To talk about options for the president, not necessarily the president being involved in this. He's about to leave to head to Michigan for a speech on the economy. The president, though, in that social media post says Iranian patriots keep protesting, take over your institutions. And he also says that he has canceled all meetings with Iranian officials. Now, this comes just a day after the...
So he says he's canceled all meetings with Iranian officials, and he encourages the people of Iran to protest and take over government institutions. He's basically encouraging Iranians to do J6s across Iran. How do we feel about that? Because, like, Trump can be right twice a day. Like a broken clock. You know, he is a broken clock. So sometimes he's right for all the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
do you
that's
think
my thing.
That's kind of how I feel. Yeah.
I'm conflicted because I mean, from what you've told me, that the Iranian government sounds pretty fucking retarded. So it's like, I'm not siding with them by any means, but like also at the same time, I do kind of just struggle to get over the whole like peace precedent thing. As like every fucking week we gone to war with a new fucking country.
Or might go to war with Canada or Greenland, or might go to war with all of Europe. Because if we invade Greenland, either Trump gets like completely satiated, like everybody just decides to like bend over and like give their assholes to Trump and let him get what he wants, or it's World War III because we go to war with Europe. It's one or the other.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I just... Also, by the way, wait, I just remembered something. Didn't we get dropped out of the fucking, like, UN recently?
No, I don't believe that's the case. I heard that and looked into it and was like, I don't see anything legit about that, but there has been talks that, like, yeah, we would be dropped from the UN if we did go through with attacking, Greenland, but no, I mean, I don't believe the US is out of the UN unless Trump, like... if anything, I believe there was just a lot of talk that Trump might pull us out of the UN, but I don't believe that's happened. Like, I don't think so.
Not yet, I don't think. Not yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean though. Yeah. I get where your concern comes from. What are these little grub things? So interesting. I wish I knew what they were. Oh, okay. I gotta read these item descriptions after this segment. We'll get to that later.
White House said that his special envoy Steve Witkoff had been having conversations with the Iranian foreign minister. The White House wasn't giving details about where the president necessarily wanted those conversations to go, but just that diplomacy was his first option. But the White House also says that there are many options on the table for the president, including airstrikes against Iranian targets. There are also potential options of cyber attacks or influence operations to try to undermine the Iranian regime, and also the potential of further...
Trump's openly talking about using this as an opportunity to undermine the Iranian regime. Like, openly. Not even like, oh, it's behind the scenes that he's discussing it with, like, Hegseth and the Department of War. No, he's just openly saying, yeah, we might use some kind of cyber attack or something like that to take advantage of this situation. He's like, he's just straight up admitting that he plans to use this as an opportunity to, like, maybe weaken Iran, maybe go to war with Iran, maybe try to conquer Iran, which would be, like, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Iran is not a slouch. It is not a pushover.
That's what's, like, concerning me is, like I said, I'm not sitting here saying, I love everything about Iran, but I don't know, Chief. Free healthcare or, going to war with these motherfuckers. Like, I don't know if I want to do that, bro. I don't know if I want to do. I'm like, whoa. Let's chill out on that, bro. Let's chill. Let's chill the fuck out, man. Like, just from let me say this. Let me add because I think I could consider myself I guess a centrist-y type, or not like centrist-y, but more normie. I guess you know what I mean. Like, I don't keep up with this shit. Like. Not to go in a circle here, but it is.
Yeah, you're not a centrist. You're just a normie.
yeah. It's just it really is just from the outside looking in, just fucking it's just you want to rip your hair out because I'm not a fucking expert on international policy or anything, but I think I could confidently say, that this is probably a little dangerous, bro. I don't like my life being gambled with, man. Because you saw what they were developing, right? Like the Iranian, have you seen the hypersonic missiles they've been developing?
That I'm not aware of, but I heard something recently about, that involved sound as an attack, that, involved being able to basically liquefy people's organs from a distance using sound. It was some wild shit.
Attacks.
I don't know if that was real or not, but it seemed pretty insane.
No, those weapons exist, unfortunately. As far as I know, at least. But, yeah.
There are two gnats that have, invaded my room and are swirling around me, and I hate them. I genuinely... It's personal between me and them. I hope they know that.
Nothing a little bit of editing can't fix.
Yeah, let's get back to it. I'll resume.
Sanctions against Iranian officials or sectors of their economy.
And Mick, the U.S. is warning all Americans inside Iran to leave the country ahead of a possible intervention there. How significant is that?
Very significant. Iran showed in the past it has no problem essentially just grabbing American citizens and using them as political hostages. And obviously right now, the regime is so concerned about U.S. strikes and their very existence in the future that this would be something that I think they would be expected to do. Obviously, completely unlawful, but that's not something that's stopped them in the past. And we also saw that happen in Venezuela, right, quite frankly, before the Maduro operation, with the regime there starting to grab up American citizens. So everybody should take this very seriously, and Americans should leave Iran.
And Karen, Trump's also putting a 25% tariff.
So, experts recommend that any Americans that are currently just chilling out in Iran might want to leave. What?
Peace president strikes again.
I have encountered a new mob in Hightail, and it appears to be a star. Whoa! It appears to be an unfriendly star-nosed mole, rat, creature. I killed it.
Fucking rats again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, it's a party over there, so maybe I shouldn't go down that way. Okay. Back to the politics.
Tariff on Iran's trade partners, including China. So how are they responding?
Yeah, this was a significant post last night from the president. Now, it doesn't mean he's necessarily going forward with this, but it's certainly a threat to try to isolate Iran, try to squeeze the Iranian government. He says that he would be putting a 25% tariff on countries that do business with Iran. Now, the biggest target potentially there is China, who is Iran's biggest trade partner and the world's...
So Trump is now promising... So, okay, Iran wasn't very in with U.S. trade partners to begin with, but countries that the U.S. is a little less friendly with do trade a lot with Iran, notably China. Not that we're not friendly with China, it's more of a certain degree of like competition, and there are some political sentiments that are a little bit... Yeah, there's competition there that exists. But apparently China is, much like with the U.S., one of Iran's biggest trading partners, if not their biggest. And Trump is trying to say that he will leverage a tariff against any country that chooses to continue trade with Iran. So essentially the U.S. being, you know, everyone's biggest trading partner, they will tariff you if you continue to do business with Iran. Like straight up mob tactics is what Trump is employing here.
Yeah, that's sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much you can say about that. I do think it's funny that I was recently watching The Sopranos, and I mean, it really, no, like, unironically, it really is like mob tactics. The only difference is that, like, you know, Trump isn't getting out of, like, you know, the back of, like, a 90s Cadillac and, like, going and beating the shit out of, like, a fucking gambling shop owner, you know, and taking, like, their cash register money. But, you know, other than that, I mean, it really is just, like, that on a large scale, you know? And it's just, like, I don't, like I said, I don't think it takes, like, a super intelligent person to, you know, decipher that, I guess. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think it's pretty... Fuck, I'm about to do the Asmongold thing. It's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious, man. It's pretty obvious.
Asmongold is probably the most frustrating person on the planet, though. Like, unironically. Like, the way... let's not get lost in the sauce with this stun lock, but I can't believe you brought him up. Now I feel like he has to be addressed, but
yeah,
we shall
definitely
not.
Gotta address him.
We shall not.
Largest importer of oil. This would potentially disrupt that very delicate trade truce that we have with China. Remember, tariffs at one point were well over 100%. Now they're down just below 50%. China is saying, with a response from their foreign minister, that there are, quote, no winners in a tariff war, and that China will safeguard its legitimate rights and interests.
True, especially because Trump is retarded and does not understand that you're not supposed to tariff everything. Not every import should... There are imports, certain imports, that should never, ever, 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 ever be tariffed, because the point of tariffing is to encourage domestic production and to engage in protectionism of U.S. industries. But if you cut off, say, the import of raw materials used in American manufacturing, then you sabotage yourself. And that's what Trump does. We buy our steel from manufacturing from China, and then Trump tariffs it at 100%, and all of a sudden, U.S. manufacturing just got 100% more expensive. And it was already more expensive by a lot before that, because we need to build factories here, which can take upwards of 6 years in many cases, longer than a presidential term. And on top of that, we have to hire American workers who have to be paid more by law, and that ends up meaning that we're paying less workers. We err for automation more anyway, and yeah, we just end up having to pay more for the product in the end. It ends up being more expensive to consume as well. Like, people like the idea of having easy, like, labor jobs that involve, like, you know, working factory lines or something, and you know, they get unionized and they get some decent pay or whatever, but in reality, that would not be how it would go. It would be miserable. Americans would not want to do these jobs. They didn't want to in the first place. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Americans would be thrilled to be able to work in, like, effectively sweatshops, making shirts all day. But I don't feel like they would. I feel like Americans are should be pretty happy with the positive end of a pretty raw deal. You know, like, we kind of gave, if anything, China a pretty raw deal when it comes to trade. And yet we complain about that relationship, where we literally are clearly on top. God,
Yeah.
Americans are they're such pussies. I say there as if I'm not one of them. I just don't want to include myself
I'm an
in the
American
pussy
too, boy.
category.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm from the South.
Then again, you are what you eat. You are what you eat.
That's
okay,
true.
So this threat against Iran
kebab?
might have a double effect
kebab
of
now.
imbalancing things right
Oh,
now
yeah.
with business with China.
And Mick, there's a nationwide internet blackout in Iran. So how does that affect
Oh,
mass
yeah.
protests like this?
I don't know if you're aware of this, Rince, but Iran's government shut off the internet for all of its citizens to get them to, like, calm down about the whole, you know, not being able to afford anything thing.
That would, like, make me go ape shit, bro. That's the fuck. Okay, yeah, you know what?
You can't
Listen,
take my internet
actually-
away. Like, that's like when I revolt.
Come on. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I want Trump to nuke everyone besides America for that stunt right there. I'm fucking around.
No, like, legitimately, like, I have fans that live in Iran. Like, I have like at least a couple of chatters that have told me, I mean, assuming that they're not lying, that have straight up told me that they're watching from Tehran. And so
Wow.
they are without internet right now and unable to connect to the rest of the world. And we're talking about the situation happening in their country, all because their leaders are like, we don't want this getting posted online and then people celebrating it internationally, and then our citizens being empowered to do this more. Like, I feel like they want Iranians to feel alone in their revolt against the government and their protests.
Man, I fucking hate the government. I think that's the moral of the story of politics. I just fucking hate the government. I think we can usually boil things down to it's either a really shitty politician or a really shitty government, right? Like, I don't think that's, like, you know, too much of a broad statement.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
All right, come back to the house, Rince. Come back to the house. Get in the kitchen.
Hey, yo, hey.
Get in the
Whoa,
kitchen.
whoa.
You know what's up. Get in the kitchen. Take off your shoes and get in the kitchen.
Hey, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? You fucking gay.
Okay. Let's resume.
Well, there's a reason why the regime is trying to bring down the internet every possible chance they can, because the more Iranians can see the enormity of these protests, so far beyond what we've seen in the past, likely because this affects everyone, because the economic situation is very dire, and that it crosses ethnic groups and special interest groups, if you will. So this includes everybody. So they don't want the Iranians to see just how much their fellow citizens are with them. They also don't want to see the atrocities they're committing. They basically wholesale slaughter of protesters by the security forces. So they're going to try to keep the internet down, and I hope the United States and others are trying to keep it up. That is very important to really show just what's happening.
So are they able to use, like, Starlink? I thought you needed, like, hardware on the ground to be able to do that, but apparently the U.S. is able to provide some kind of service, it would seem, or is at least attempting to. Very interesting. I mean, like, I hate to say it here, Rince, but this really does look like a Trump broken clock right twice a day kind of thing, where it's like, well, yeah, the United States president is opposed to the Iranian regime. It just so happens that right now, more than ever, the American people are also quite opposed to the Iranian regime.
I mean, like I said, you know, like, when it comes to what horse I have in this race, you know, I want peace for everybody. You know what I'm a peaceful person, and you know, I want the government to stop being retarded in Iran, and I want the president to, like, no, like, on a real note, like, I feel like it's like it's a broken clock right twice a day, but for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? I think that's why, like, I'm just like, it's just like conflicting thinking about this, because it's like, you know, yeah, he's probably like, he's doing like, I don't know, like, he's doing something good but bad, or I should say, I don't know. You'd probably be able to, like, word it better. But you know what I'm talking about, though. It's like, you know, good, but not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, man, I apparently the death toll in Iran among, like, the government killing protesters has now topped over 2,000. And for reference, the day before yesterday when I covered it, it was just hitting 300. And these are official numbers, or at least these are numbers that are conservative estimates. So it was a conservative estimate of about 300 the day before yesterday. And now today, the 13th of January, it sits at a conservative estimate of 2,000 Iranian protesters killed by the government. Or I guess killed during the protests, but almost certainly massive majority by government officials. Government, like, you know.
Shootings, yeah. Okay, I never knew. I wish I kind of knew that going into this. Fuck, that's dark. Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, like, it's really hard not to be like, well, you know, like, I guess American intervention is good here, which is, it's weird because every other issue related to American intervention right now, outside, like, this one and Ukraine maybe, are the ones where it's like, and maybe, like, stepping in between Israel and Palestinians, but, like, besides that, it's like we generally want the U.S. to stay out of things in terms of combat and conflict, but here it's, I don't know, this might be a really good opportunity, especially because Iran's government is, like, they want to develop nuclear weapons. They want to. We had to literally get them to agree to a deal to agree they wouldn't do nuclear research. They promise. You know what I mean? Like, and then Trump threw that away, the Iran nuclear deal. But yeah, I don't know. I want to say that Trump's wrong. My instinct is always to be like, yeah, Trump's always wrong. Because he typically is, but, I mean, I'm not a sycophant, or an anti-sycophant. I'm not like a dyed-in-the-wool hater. So when he says something based or does something based on accident more often than not, then I'll call out as such, because what's the point in criticizing the bad if you can't call out the good and encourage it, right? Anyway, though. With all that said, I think...
agree.
I do too. With all that said, though, I think here's where I'm going to wrap up this segment for this particular bit. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you want to see more from me. And follow my social medias linked down below, as well as joining my fan Discord if you haven't already. I'd love to see you around there. It's the main hub of my community. Until next time, though, thank you for watching as always, and have a good one.